Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Back Page Breakdown. I'm your host Antwan Staley. You can always find me at Antwan Staley on social media. Also find me at the New York Daily News covering the Jets and also NFL stuff too as well. Uh, from time to time, other NFL stuff from time to time outside of just the Jets too. Obviously, everybody knows about the big game, with the Jets and the Chiefs this weekend. I know a lot of Jets fans are not necessarily enthusiastic about it simply because them coming in, the Chiefs coming in, and obviously them being heavy favorites and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey and everything like that. So we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But before I get to that, football is back, and BetOnline is your number one information source for all sports wagering information with all the up to the minute stats, news, scores, and matchup breakdowns. Get the latest odds, spreads, totals from the NFL and college football at your fingertips with BetOnline real-time updates on statistic news and odds. From week one all the way to the college football playoff and the Super Bowl, BetOnline gives you the access to the best football promotions, contests available anywhere. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Remember, use our promo code BELIEVE, BLEAVE, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online where the games start. So, yeah, definitely, all the talk has been about Zach Wilson this week, and deservedly so. I mean, you look at, what he did or what he didn't do against the Patriots last weekend. I mean, I know he didn't turn the ball over, and I know the Patriots. I mean, I know Robert Sala has talked about him preach, ball security and things of that nature too. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, he just didn't get the job done. And you look at, Matt Jones on the other side, not a great quarterback by any stretch of the imagination, but he was able to get the job done. He did what he had to do and, help guide the Patriots to a small 15-10 win, in MetLife Stadium. So now you got, Patrick Mahomes coming into town and, I think a lot of people were expecting the Chiefs to put on a masterclass on national TV. And, I think the Patrick Mahomes, Zach Wilson's, game has been really a sidebar to Taylor Swift this weekend. And for folks that don't know Taylor, which I'm sure everybody knows at this point, but Taylor Swift is reportedly supposed to show up at MetLife Stadium to see Travis Kelsey, who she reportedly is dating, or at least they're seeing each other. I don't know if publicity stunt or whatever the case may be. But Taylor Swift apparently will be in attendance, and also according to ESPN, Aaron Rodgers might be in attendance too as well. So, but I'll talk about Aaron first, simply because I think when Aaron went down, I think this team really lost its leader in the locker room, and it probably shouldn't be the case. But the fact of the matter is, Aaron Rodgers, they did everything. They bent over backwards for Aaron Rodgers this offseason. Got him the help that he needed, got the players that he wanted, scheme, doing everything. Everything was catered to Aaron Rodgers. And then when he went down, I mean, I think that really changed the course of the entire team to the point where now they're scrambling. He talked about Willie Gay in his comments. He kind of said it when he's talking about, Zach Wilson in the passing game, where they want to run the ball. I mean, it's no secret that what the Jets want to do, they want to run the ball. They don't necessarily want to throw it a whole lot with Zach Wilson because they don't have a lot of confidence in him. And fact of the matter is, when Aaron went down, they just, like I say, they lost their entire identity, and now they're scrambling to try to find that same identity. To be quite honest with you, so yeah, I definitely think, you know, I definitely think that now that Aaron is possibly coming back, I think that'll really help them leadership wise in that locker room and with that team too as well. If he's able to get back into the building, I don't know how much is going to help them, wins and losses, and because he's not the one throwing the football, he's not the one out there in the trenches is Zach Wilson. And no matter what he can say and coach up with Zach, he's still probably going to be the same quarterback that he has been. Very erratic. I think he's lost confidence. Clearly, you look at his rookie year compared to now. I mean, his stats are even worse than what they were. So yeah, I think it's going to be it's tough, especially when you're playing a Chiefs team that's great on all sides of the football, and you're going to have to score. I mean, the Jets have scored 10 points per game the last 2 weeks. That's definitely not going to get it done really against anybody, especially, an offense as potent as Kansas City. But if you are going to, try to stay in this game, I think it's some things that they really have to do. They have to run tempo because that's what Zach's comfortable with. That's what he did at BYU. That's he's not overthinking. He's just able just to throw the ball down the field, just quick check downs or get the ball out quickly. And he's not holding on to it that much. So if he's able to do that, I think you got to also keep the players engaged and give them a good opportunity to score some points. Now, obviously, I'm sure the Chiefs will, make adjustments if they decide to do that. But yeah, I think they just have to, say, what we did for Aaron is not going to work for Zach. We have to do something. We have to do things that helps him, whether it be, get Xavier Gibson and McCole Hartman out there on the field, two guys that, anytime they touch the football, they can, create some big plays too as well. And then, I know Randall Cobb has done a lot of good things with the league and, with Aaron, but, I would play him less, especially, when you got some young receivers who can, stretch the field and also do some big things too as well. So that's kind of what I would do if I was, the Jets and Nathaniel Hackett. We'll see what kind of adjustments they make. And obviously the running game is going to be huge in a game like this because that's what they want to do. They want to run the football. They've made no bones about that. And that's kind of their identity right now. I know I asked Robert Saleh directly, like, what do you think your identity is? He was like, we're still trying to find it. If you're still trying to find it at this point of the season, then I think, even though it's still early, I think, that says a lot about, where the Jets are right now. I think they should be a team that plays really good defense, has a really good running game, although they haven't shown that in the last couple of weeks. And, it's a team that wants to punch you in the mouth. If they're able to do that, I think they'll start to win more games. And, again, they might not make the playoffs. They're probably not at this point. So because, I just don't think they're a good enough team offensively and able to do that. Defensively, yes, they're as good as anybody in the league. You put them up there with the Browns and Steelers, and obviously Patriots have a good defense, Cowboys. But yeah, I think defensively they're up there, if not the best defense, but at least one of them. But if you can't, score points in this league, it doesn't necessarily matter. You're basically, especially in a fight like this against Kansas City, you're basically bringing a water pistol to a gunfight. And obviously, you bring a water pistol to a gunfight, you know what's going to happen. So they gotta figure this thing out offensively, or else they're going to be walking into Denver 1-3, and really a must win. I thought the Patriots was a must win situation. I think this is even more of a must win situation, because you don't want to lose to the Broncos, and if you lose that to a team that's may or may not be winless, depending on what happens with the Bears game with the Broncos this week. Then you got the Eagles coming to town in MetLife, and I imagine there's going to be a ton of Eagles fans there, especially considering the proximity. Philadelphia is less than 2 hours away, 90 minutes, and Eagles fans are just going to represent their MetLife, and especially with their team, especially them consider possibly having another home game compared to the 8 that I believe they have this year. So yeah, they got to get it done. You got to, you lost to the Patriots. You got to try to make up for that somehow. I don't give them much of a chance against the Chiefs, but I think a lot of people didn't give them much of a chance, against the Bills last year when they came to MetLife Stadium. So, it's like, in my advance that I'll come out with on Sunday, it's like Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson. A lot of people nobody's giving the Chiefs, the Jets, much of a chance. But as we've seen in sports all the time, upsets typically do happen. They happen all the time. And, if you're the Jets, you're like, why not? Why can't we, beat a Buster Douglas to Mike Tyson? Everybody's expecting, the Chiefs just to walk in there, cruise to a easy victory. We're at home. Maybe we can get the crowd behind us. There's going to be a lot of people there for Taylor Swift Fest, I guess, if you want to call it that. But yeah, I think, if you're there, if you're the Jets, that's kind of the mindset you have to go with. Like, look, we can start out early. I would get the ball. Like, just try to, set a tone early in the game. Like, look, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to try to hit them in the mouth, get up early, try to score a touchdown, and then have them fight for behind, although the Chiefs are great at that too. But you want to set a tone like, look, we came here to play. You want to get the crowd behind you and just get some momentum that way, because otherwise the Chiefs go up 7-0. Now you're kind of playing behind the 8 ball. And, as we've seen with Zach Wilson, he's not necessarily a guy that's going to bring you back to victory, although he did against Buffalo. But this is a whole different animal when you're playing Mahomes and Kelsey and Andy Reid and the Chiefs too. So yeah, that's what I would do too. And I think another thing is, as opposed to outside of running the football, which I think everybody understands, like they just have to be committed to it. I know Dalvin Cook and Brees Hall haven't had the best games the last couple of weeks, especially last week against New England when you had 7 or 8 in the box. But you just got to commit to it. Just run the ball, try to do some things that are outside the norm, some different types of plays, and I definitely think that could be in their best benefit, possibly, to get those guys out some space and maybe some big games too as well. So yeah, obviously running the football, offensive line is key too. And then I think lastly for me, I think the big key is for they got to get turnovers. They got to get turnovers. We saw it in Buffalo against Buffalo in Week 1. They were able to force 4 Josh Allen turnovers. That was the difference in the game. If you're going to play these top quarterbacks, Mahomes is a gunslinger. You got to be able to capitalize on these interceptions and turnover possible interceptions. If you can't, then he's going to kill you. He's going to just slice and dice you up. So when you have the opportunity like Sauce Gardner get against Dallas, you got to be able to take advantage of it instantly. You can't just beat around the bush and hope that something happens. Yet you have to be able to create those opportunities, and you got to be able to rush the passer. The Jets have had 1 sack the last couple of weeks too, and that's not a recipe for success when you're facing a quality opponent like this. And the Chiefs' offensive line has been here or there, as far as hit or miss. But I think they're going to try to do some things where you can try to contain Quentin Williams and Jermaine Johnson and those guys too as well. But the pass rush has been kind of disappointing, outside of Week 1. They hadn't been able to get pressure on the quarterback. And I know Robert Saleh and what he likes to do, he likes to rush 4, and that's probably the best recipe against the Chiefs, because you start blitzing people, it's not going to work out very well for you, especially against Patrick Mahomes, who knows what you're going to do before you even run the play. So you gotta be on it. You gotta be really detail oriented, well coached, and again, that's the only shot that you have to win this game. Nathaniel Hackett does have some, obviously experience coaching against the Chiefs. Last year, 2 times he faced them. Obviously, the Broncos didn't come away with the victory, but you do have some instances where he knows what they want to do. They know what he wants to do offensively, although this is a different team what the Jets do. And they have familiarity, I'm sure, with Zach Wilson, and just watching him and what he's been able to do the last few weeks and the last 2 weeks of his career. So yeah, this is it. This is it for Zach Wilson. This is a big game for him. Obviously, they signed Trevor Siemian, earlier this week, to the practice squad. He won't play. He'll be inactive. But yeah, this is the end of the road. He has to play well, or else I think they might start Simeon against the Broncos, and if they don't start Simeon against the Broncos, I'm sure they probably will against the Eagles. At some point, the sand in the hourglass is starting to run out on Zach Wilson, and you have to be able to produce in this league. The Jets were dealt a bad hand. Some of it is their fault because they failed to address the backup quarterback situation. They thought just getting Aaron would solve a lot of their problems, but obviously it did not. Even if Aaron was there, I still think they would have some issues, but he would solve a big part of their offensive issues. But now, with no Aaron Rodgers, you definitely have more of these problems coming to light. So yeah, they definitely have some big issues there. They have to hope Zach Wilson can play well, play mistake-free football. That's really their only shot of winning this game. And if they can't, then like I said, they're going to be 1-3 heading to Denver in a game where it was a lot of buildup, especially throughout the off season with Sean Payton's comments and Nathaniel Hackett and all that stuff. But we'll get into it next week. But yeah, that's definitely going to be a game that they have to win, because you look at their schedule, it does not get any easier with the Eagles, and they got the Giants after the bye. That could go either way. Chargers, they're probably not going to win that. Raiders could go either way, although I kind of lean towards the Raiders in that regard too. But again, they could win that. But then you got the Dolphins, you got the Bills after that on the road in Buffalo, probably not going to win that. Dolphins coming to town. They put up 70 against the Broncos. So yeah, the road does not get any easier. Atlanta's better than I think a lot of people thought. The Browns are better than what a lot of people thought. Obviously you got to go to New England the last game of the season. There's no telling what the psyche of that team might be. So yeah, you got these games where you have to win, and you have to do it. So, there's no mistakes. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you. The Jets fans aren't very happy right now, and they want results. Like I said, they're in the 5 stages of grief. They have, they're in the anger right now and bit of a denial, I believe, too, as well. Denial that, this is kind of happening to them. They see other teams like the Lions, they beat the Packers on Thursday night. You see the Browns looking like they could possibly win the AFC North, if not, be a playoff team. And you got the Dolphins, a team that, has been traditionally down, has not won a playoff game since 2000. Miami hasn't, but yeah, they have a good opportunity to finally break that streak this year. And if you're a Jet fan, you just got to be a bit sick about everything that's happening. But again, nobody's going to feel sorry for you. This is the hell in hand you got, and you just got to play with it. And hopefully you can be respectable at the end of the year. So that's all you can hope for if you're a Jets fan. So we'll be here on Tuesday to kind of break it all down. We'll have a guest at some point. We're talking about the Jets and just kind of the state of them, and hopefully, for y'all's sakes, the Jets fans, it'll be 2-2 instead of 1-3. But I think a lot of people, including myself, believe they're going to be 1-3 after this game, heading into Denver in a critical game as well. So you can tune back in next week for that. I'm Antwan Staley again. You can follow me at Antwan Staley on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now, all social media platforms, Instagram, Threads, and also follow my work at the New York Daily News. All right, till next week.